What's happening, everyone? TomGorian here, and welcome back to episode 17 of the F123 Haas To Glory. This video marks race number 3 for season 2 of the Haas To Glory, and we're going to be racing around the Miami Autodrome Gardens for the Miami Grand Prix. This is the first of 2 American races of the 16 race championship, and here is what the Drivers' Championship looks like. The last 2 races have not been good for us because we've had mediocre performances. We've had 2 10th place finishes. Meanwhile, Kevin Magnussen, he had an 8th and he DNF'd in the last race. Speaking of the last race, check it out in the cards and also check out the playlist so that you're all up to date for this series, and subscribe for more F123 Haas To Glory, League Racing and just general F123 content. So, let's get in towards the meat and the potatoes of this video. So, we're coming off the back of a very mediocre performance, and we are starting to understand why this car isn't really performing that well. And one of the main problems I'm having with this car is just the handling and the rotation for our fast and low speed corners. So what we're going to do is we're just going to focus on the chassis side of the car, because our chassis hasn't been good, and it hasn't been good since the start of the series, and I think it's time that we just really say fuck it. Let's just do this chassis and just try to catch up to Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari. We have a charity event. A charity has asked us if we would be happy to support the cause, but we're going to decline that because our chassis is more important than some random ass charity event. That can happen later on in the timeline. We've got to focus on fixing the chassis and making sure that this car is up to speed with the Aston Martin, McLaren and the Red Bull. And one of those things that we're going to do is we're going to increase as far as the lifespan of the tyres with this major tyre upgrade, the roll dampers. That will take approximately 21 days, which will be right after the Imola Grand Prix. However, we're going to risk it because we're going to rush this upgrade. Hopefully, this upgrade can come right before the Imola Grand Prix. I'm not sure if that was the right decision to rush that tyre upgrade. But speaking of upgrades, we've got our first of 2 chassis upgrades completed for this car, and I think one of them was the engine cover. That's right, we've got a new engine cover which will increase the weight rear distribution, which will pretty much give us better balance as far as the rear and the front end of the car, and hopefully it should mean a better car in both high speed and low speed corners. But yeah, just one of the problems I've had with this car as the sidepod profile is now going on, which means our car will now be in a better quality when it comes to straight line speed, because less drag and more just top end speed, meaning our car will go faster in a straight line. One of the things we've just had problems with against the AI is really the same things from last year, as far as overpowered straight line speed and just overpowered, traction when it comes to slow speed corners. But we've got to try and fix that in the next couple of races as we head towards the European end of the season. So let's do this. We haven't had 2 good races so far, and hopefully as we enter home, the first of 2 home races, hopefully we can give the bosses at Haas, Gene Gunther and Gene Haas, something to be proud of. So, without further ado, let's get into the race weekend. So now with the typical house cleaning out the way, let's dive into this episode with qualifying. So, feedback on qualifying was based on the setup. Now, usually after the first 2 races, I have not been comfortable with the setup or the feeling of the car, just simply because of the balance, and I do believe that's simply because of the chassis and the lack of chassis upgrades compared to the Red Bulls, Aston Martins and the McLarens, as Lando Norris sets a 1:26.3, and as you can see with this lap, we are going to set a 1:27.5, so we're still behind. We are literally 1.2 seconds behind Lando Norris and the McLarens, but heading in towards this weekend, I did feel much more comfortable, and I did have a better understanding as to why our car was struggling. And this is by no means a good lap. Well, this is a good lap, and as you can see, as we exit turn 3, we are literally 2 temps off on the final runs as we enter the fast section of the sequence of corners and the long left-hander as we enter the first back straight. And as you can see us also, we are currently 4 tenths up on our lap here, and I'm not really focusing on the delta as much as qualifying is complete, but we've just got to try and focus this lap here as we enter the Mickey Mouse section. So literally braking now at 100 meters. Well, I would say 150 meters. That corner has probably been the most difficult corner because our car is just understeers a little bit, and we can't really clip on the apex. As we nail that chicane perfectly there, we ride the curb, and you've got to make sure that you have a good enough ride height to ride the curb. And as we have a purple second sector, so you know what? We actually might be on pole here as long as we nail the final corner. All that's left now is literally the final corner and the little kink before the line, braking at 150 meters once again, and we've clipped the apex right there. We go a little bit wide, and we've got to be patient on the throttle as we come in across the kink. Across the line we go. Is this going to be pole position? It's P10. What the? I was literally a second quicker. We were purple in the second sector. How the hell are we P10? And as you can see from now, look how close the grid is from Lando Norris to Alex Albon. 1 tenth separating the top 5 and 2 tenths separating the top 10.
We're here in the coastal shores of Florida for the Miami Grand Prix, which has become the 11th Formula One track held in the United States. Grandstands are packed for what we hope is going to be another fantastic race. A lap of the Miami Grand Prix features 3.36 miles of track around the Hard Rock Stadium, and 19 corners make up the Miami International Autodrome, which will challenge the drivers in a tight wheel-to-wheel race. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Hamilton, Albon, Leclerc, Sainz, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Thomas, Magnussen, Ocon, Russell, Gasly, Bottas, Joe, Liam Lawson, Tsunoda, Sargent, and Nick De Vries. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson.
And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race.
Let's talk about Mercedes. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
I know Mercedes haven't had a good start to this season, but I think Crofty is over-exaggerating when it comes to the regs really screwing them over. We've had a worse start to this season than what Mercedes have had to theirs. So I think it's kind of bias for David Croft to really be talking about Mercedes instead of us. I smell some favoritism when it comes to David Croft and those cats. But here's the starting grid, and as you can see, the tyre strategy, it's literally going to be soft to medium or medium to soft. As far as we don't have a safety car for this race, tyre wear is usually focused on the rear side of the car. Obviously, there's a lot of slow speed corners, a lot of hairpins, and just a lot of slow traction corners when it comes to this track. But when it comes to the setup, not really much is going to change. But just slight tyre pressures and also the suspension geometry. But hopefully we can score in the higher end of the points. Let's do this.
As the formation lap gets underway here in Miami, the drivers will be wanting to leave a lasting impression on the thousands of fans who've flocked to today's race. The anticipation is certainly rising, and everyone is hoping for a fantastic and memorable Grand Prix. So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. But the question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong?
So there's confirmation of the strategy. One stop, soft to medium, and then apparently mediums to hards. That's going to be a very interesting dynamic, because I don't really like the hards on this game. But there might be some runners who might actually do this. So here we go. Are you ready for the Miami Grand Prix for 5 red lights? Lights out and away we go in Miami. It's a decent start by us. Oscar Piastri has had a good start. So has Max Verstappen. He's falling down the field as we're heading towards turn 1. And Lando Norris is actually in the lead of the Miami Grand Prix as it's 3 wide between us, Verstappen, and Oscar Piastri as we head towards the quick section of the S's here in Miami. Verstappen has taken the advantage, but actually it's Leclerc, not Piastri, I don't believe. And Verstappen has held it around the outside of Charles Leclerc as we heading towards the back straight. And it was a good start by us, but we just couldn't capitalise on the straight because the straight is a bit, it's a bit short, and we just couldn't really get that launch in towards second phase. But Verstappen's had a stinker of a start as he's trying to battle Charles Leclerc for 7th place in this race. And Verstappen overtakes Charles Leclerc, and as far as we're concerned, we're just too far back to try and do anything when it comes to Verstappen and Leclerc. And as you can see, there they go once again. They're swapping and changing here in Miami. Leclerc tries to overtake Verstappen. Verstappen is absolutely having none of it, and Leclerc here gets a better traction and a better exit from the long way round. And as you can see, we're going to try and overtake Max Verstappen here as we go down in towards turn 1. We're going to send it into late launch on Verstappen. We clip the apex nice and beautifully, and we overtake Max Verstappen there. And that is going to be very important for this race here today as we enter the Mickey Mouse chicane, and we've nailed that absolutely perfectly as we're going to try and get a run on Charles Leclerc as we head towards the back straight, and we are absolutely close enough. But notice how much ERS we've used so far as we overtake the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, and there it is. We are now into 7th place, but we've already used most of our ERS, and we're not even 6 laps in towards this Miami race. So it looks like we're going to have to try and do a lot of defensive driving here at this Miami Autodrome street circuit for this race. But as you can see, Verstappen in that overpowered Red Bull, he's going to try and overtake us in towards the Mickey Mouse section, and we actually have the inside line. Verstappen did have the best line because usually that corner is the line you want to be on, the outside line for that corner. But we just pushed them wide and we regained position. Speaking of positions, Lance Stroll is getting held up by that train of, I think, Hamilton. I think that's Sainz, and I do believe that's Norris. Norris is ahead. So that's what, Perez? No, it's not Alonso. I have no idea who. But as you can see, George Russell is out of the Miami Grand Prix. And Mercedes' season gets from bad to worse because another reliability issue has forced George Russell into retirement already in this race. And as you can see, we send one down the inside of Lando Norris. It's not Lando Norris, it's Lance Stroll, you idiot. We've sent it down the inside of Lance Stroll, a very late move after we nailed the Mickey Mouse section. But as you can see, we do not want to be wasting time battling with Lance Stroll as we get a warning there for the collision. And rightfully so, it was a late move. But as you can see, we're going to hold it around the outside in towards second gear, early shift into third for better traction, and the position is now ours. So, originally, our pit strategy was supposed to be lap 12, but we're going to go 1 lap early to avoid the train of Hamilton, Sainz, and I don't even, no, it's Alex Albon. I keep forgetting there were driver transfers last season, and now here we are for season 2. But anyway, coming in for our one and only stop of this race, we're going to take off the soft tyres and we're going to go for the mediums in this race. Hopefully we can do a 2.2 second pit stop, and we do, and I believe that will be the fastest lap or the fastest time of the pit stops for this race. However, we need to come out ahead of Nick De Vries, and can we come out ahead of the AlphaTauri driver? We do, and that is big. That's big. That is a big moment in our race, just as big as my penis, but we move on as we enter lap 13. And as you can see, we have jumped Lance Stroll and Lewis Hamilton, so the undercut has worked. And as you can see, Magnussen Sainz, Albon, we've jumped Albon as well, and the undercut has absolutely worked. You might have noticed as well that Carlos Sainz was on the hard tyres, and I can't lie, that's something that that's a typical Ferrari thing to do, innit? Ferrari don't have the best strategies when it comes to a long distance race. That's definitely something that you would see Ferrari do, pit one of their drivers for the hard compounds when the tyre strategy is certainly a softer race. But anyway, we are battling with Lewis Hamilton for the podium. So it looks like we've absolutely jumped that queue of Albon, Hamilton as well. And Perez as well. I think Perez is in second, so Perez has done a number on all of these other cars. So now as we enter the last 10 laps, the main focus for us now is to try and defend, because we need a podium, because Red Bull and McLaren are really getting away in the championship, and if we can try and hold on for a podium, that will be the start of our fight back in this championship. But I mean, that Aston Martin, man, that's so quick. Albon has been mentally quick this season, and he's been just quick in general throughout this weekend. And as you can see, he's gone down the inside, but we're going to hold it, and we barge wheels there as we enter the Mickey Mouse Stadium section, and we retain third place here in Miami with 5 more laps to go. Look at the train that we've got. We've got literally Albon, we've got Verstappen, Hamilton is joining the fray, and if we keep on battling, we're going to invite Oscar Piastri and also the Alpine as well of Pierre Gasly into the mix. Now, how the hell's Pierre Gasly scoring points in the Alpine? The Alpine's supposed to be the second worst car off the grid in 2024. But anyway, we're trying to focus on us as Verstappen. We keep on defending from Verstappen and Albon, and simply because we've got no ERS, and obviously with DRS, like, they've got so much more ERS than us, and we're just going to have to try and somehow defend with our lives as we begin the final lap of this race. Well, not really, we're not beginning it, as Albon gets past as we begin the penultimate lap. Yes, penultimate lap of the Miami Grand Prix, and Albon is in third place, and as you can see, he just doesn't move anywhere. I don't really know where he's trying to move. Is we're in another collision with Alex Albon, and as you can see, we're going to go around the outside, and we actually make the move stick as Mark gives us a warning there for the contact. However, this is where we need to defend. We've got no ERS. Verstappen and Albon, they're coming. Verstappen's overtaking Albon. Here comes Verstappen around the outside in towards stadium section. Can he make the move stick? No, he can't. No, he can't. There's Lando Norris. Lando Norris wins the Miami Grand Prix. I think that's his first victory of his career, first victory of the season, but fuck him, it's all about us. At home, we qualified 10th, and we're going to get on the podium.
Yes, nice work, mate. You did a really good job today. Pretty sure the boss is going to be happy with that one.
Damn right those wankers are going to be happy with the result. Gene Haas, Gunther Steiner, are you watching?
What a fantastic Grand Prix that was, and an excellent win for McLaren. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight.
So Lando Norris takes victory here at Miami, followed by Sergio Perez and of course us in third. I'm surprised that Perez's winning streak so far has been stopped so early by the McLaren of Lando Norris. I think that's his first victory in Formula 1, and if it is, congratulations. I don't know if it... Nah, he didn't win last season, I don't think. So, but the most important thing is, for us, we are back now. We finally got a podium in the third race of the season, and it's taken us literally 1/4 of the season to get a podium. And as you can see, 19 seconds away from Lando Norris with Verstappen behind us, and we've now climbed to 6th in the Drivers' Championship, 51 points behind Sergio Perez, as we enter now the European rounds of the season. And yeah, Very good result today. We followed the AI strategy to perfection from the softs to the mediums with no safety car, and we were able to bag a podium here. And with Kevin Magnussen finishing 8th, we've actually scored more points and we've jumped Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. But that is that for episode 17 of the Haas To Glory. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more F1 23 content as we approach the European half of Season 2 of the Haas To Glory. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, share, comment and subscribe for more F1 23 content, and I'll see you all in the next video in a bit.